My girlfriend said, "This is who I am, take it or leave it." After months of disrespectful behavior, I said, "I'll leave it," and started packing her things. She followed me around the house asking, "What are you doing?" And then I kicked her out. I, 29 male, was cleaning the kitchen when my girlfriend Aria, 27, walked in and dropped her wine glass in the sink. It shattered. She looked at the mess, shrugged, and started walking away. "Hey, you gonna clean that up?" I asked. She turned around, annoyed. "I'll get to it later." "There's literally broken glass in the sink. I'm doing dishes right now." "So? Do them later then." This was typical Aria. We'd been together 2.5 years, living together for one. The disrespect had been building for months, leaving messages everywhere, talking down to me in front of people, flirting with other guys right in front of me, treating my house like a hotel. "Aria, can you please just clean it up? Takes 2 seconds." She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might fall out. "Oh my God, you're so dramatic." "Fine." She grabbed a paper towel, picked up exactly 2 pieces of glass, threw them in the trash, and left the rest. "Seriously?" That's when she spun around, hands on hips, and delivered the line that would end everything. "You know what? This is who I am. Take it or leave it. I'm not changing for anybody." I looked at her, really looked at her, standing there in designer clothes I'd bought in the house I paid for, with that smug expression like she'd just dropped some profound wisdom. "Okay," I said calmly. "I'll leave it." Her smirk faltered. "What?" I dried my hands on the dish towel and walked past her to the bedroom. Started pulling her clothes out of the closet. "What are you doing?" She followed me, voice pitched higher. "Packing your things." "Packing my... Are you serious right now?" "Dead serious." I grabbed her suitcase from the top shelf, the one I'd bought her for our trip to Miami last year. Started folding her clothes neatly, placing them inside. "Babe, stop. I didn't mean... You're overreacting to broken glass." "No. I'm reacting to months of disrespect that just culminated in you telling me this is who you are. I believe you." She stood there, mouth opening and closing like a fish. I moved efficiently. Clothes from the dresser, shoes from the closet, jewelry from the nightstand. "You can't kick me out. I live here." "You stay here. Your name isn't on the mortgage, the lease, or any bills. You're a guest who's overstayed their welcome." "Where am I supposed to go?" "That's a you problem. You've got plenty of friends you're always running off with instead of spending time with me. Call one of them." I moved to the bathroom, packing her 17 different face creams and serums. The ones she bought with my credit card without asking. "This is illegal. You have to give me 30 days. Only if you're a tenant. You pay no rent, get no mail here, and aren't on any documents. You're a guest." She tried a different approach. Tears. "Baby, please, let's talk about this. I love you. If this is how you treat people you love, I'd hate to see how you treat enemies." I zipped up the suitcase, grabbed the garbage bags I'd filled with her stuff, and headed for the living room. She trailed behind, alternating between anger and manipulation. "You're going to regret this. I was just stressed from work. My friends were right about you. Please don't do this. You're such a child." I placed her things by the door and pulled out my phone. "You can call someone to pick you up, or I can call you an Uber. Your choice." "I'm not leaving. This is my home too." "No, it's not. And if you refuse to leave, I'll call the police and have you removed for trespassing." She stared at me, probably trying to figure out if I was bluffing. I wasn't. I was done. Done with the disrespect, the entitlement, the attitude. "Fine." She grabbed her phone. "Cassidy, I need you to come get me. My boyfriend is having some kind of mental breakdown." 20 minutes later, her best friend Cassidy pulled up. As Aria dragged her stuff outside, she turned back one last time. "You're making the biggest mistake of your life. No one else will put up with you like I did." "Put up with me? I paid for everything while you treated me like garbage." "But you're right. No one else will put up with that. That's why you're leaving." She slammed the door. I went back to the kitchen, carefully cleaned up the broken glass she'd left, and finished the dishes in peace. First time in months I'd smiled while cleaning. But this was just the beginning. See, Aria had gotten very comfortable with the lifestyle I provided. She was about to learn what "this is who I am" really costs when the person funding your life takes you at your word. Update 1, 72 hours later. The entitlement escalation was swift and predictable. Arya had spent 2.5 years getting comfortable with a lifestyle she contributed nothing to. Reality hit different when the bank of boyfriend closed. Day 1, the realization. The morning after I kicked her out, the text started, 7:23 a.m. My card got declined at Starbucks. What did you do? Of course, she'd been an authorized user on my credit card, removed her that same night. 8:5, hello? Fix this now. This is financial abuse. Are really gonna leave me stranded with no money? I didn't respond, but I did check my credit card activity. Girl had been spending $400 to $500 a month on coffee, brunches, and random shopping. My coffee maker at home apparently wasn't good enough. Day 2, the social media spin. By day 2, she'd crafted her victim narrative on Instagram, posted a series of stories when toxic men can't handle independent women. Sleeping on couches, but at least I'm free. He really kicked me out for being myself. The audacity. Her friends ate it up. Comments flooded in about knowing your worth and toxic masculinity. But then something interesting happened. My buddy Marcus's girlfriend, Jade, was in Arya's comments, and Jade had receipts. Jade posted, "Girl, didn't you literally brag last week about how he pays for everything while you save your money?" Arya deleted the comment. Jade screenshot it first and sent it to the group chat. Day 2 afternoon. Got a call from Verizon. Arya was trying to transfer her line off my family plan to her own account. Problem? She needed to pay off the iPhone 14 Pro Max I'd bought her. Balance, $847. She couldn't afford it. Called me crying. "Please just let me transfer the line. I'll pay you back." When have you ever paid me back for anything? I'll start now. I promise. No, then what am I supposed to do? Get your own phone plan with your own phone. I can't afford a new phone. Then you should have thought about that before telling me to take it or leave it. She hung up. An hour later, she was tweeting from Cassidy's phone about controlling exes who weaponize finances. Day 3, the job reality. Here's what Arya didn't want people to know. Worked 15 hours a week at a yoga studio. Not teaching, just checking people in. Minimum wage plus free classes, that's it. Total monthly income, maybe $600. Her lifestyle included weekly manicures, $80. Monthly hair appointments, $200 plus. Pilates membership, $150. Shopping sprees, $500. Dining out constantly, $600 plus. All funded by yours truly while she saved her pittance for emergencies, aka music festivals with her girls. Day 3, her boss at the yoga studio called me. I was still her emergency contact. "Hi, is this about Arya? Is she okay?" "She's fine, but she listed you as a reference for a pay advance? We don't typically do those." "A reference for a pay advance? That's creative." "No, I can't vouch for that." I figured. She seems stressed lately. Stressed was one word for it. By evening of day 3, staying with Cassidy was already going south. See, Cassidy lived in a studio apartment with her boyfriend. 3 adults and 500 square feet wasn't working. Arya called from Cassidy's phone. "I need to come get more of my stuff." "What stuff?" "I packed everything. My hair tools, my supplements, all in the bags I gave you." "Well, I need my yoga mat then." "The one I bought?" "No. It's mine. Receipt says otherwise." "You're being petty." "I'm being factual. You said this is who I am about someone who leaves broken glass for others to clean up. I'm just maintaining boundaries with who you are." Cassidy's boyfriend grabbed the phone. "Bro, can she just get the mat? She's driving us crazy here." "Not my problem, Brad. She made her choice." Heard him mutter, 3 more days of this? Before hanging up. Arya's parents lived 3 hours away. We'd met a few times. Nice people who seemed puzzled by their daughter's entitlement. They called me day 3. Her mom, Deb. "Ezra, honey, what happened?" "Arya says you threw her out over a wine glass." "That was just the final straw, Deb. She's been disrespectful for months. Leaves messes everywhere, talks down to me, treats me like an ATM." Silence. Then her dad, Grant. "Sounds familiar. That's why she can't move back here." "Grant," Deb scolded. "What? It's true. She lived here after college and did the same thing. We're not doing that again." So even her parents had boundaries. Interesting. By end of day 3, Arya was already fishing for a new meal ticket. Posted a thirst trap on Instagram, bikini pic from our Miami trip that I paid for. With caption, "Ready for my next chapter." Within hours, she was DMing with some crypto bro named Chase, who'd been lurking in her likes. My friend Jerome sent me screenshots. Chase was inviting her to dinner, offering to treat her like a queen. Good luck, Chase. Hope you've got deep pockets and no self-respect. Current status after 72 hours, homeless, couch surfing. Phoneless, can't afford to pay off the iPhone. Broke, that $600 a month doesn't stretch far. Desperate, already hunting for the next sucker. Still posting about being a bad bitch who knows her worth. Meanwhile, I deep cleaned my house. Amazing how clean it stays when one person isn't actively destroying it. Saved $167 just in 3 days of not funding her lifestyle. Slept better than I have in months. Started therapy to figure out why I tolerated this for so long. The wine glass wasn't the issue. It was the symbol of everything. The carelessness, the disrespect, the expectation that I'd always clean up her messes, literal and figurative. She was right about one thing. That is who she is. And I'm grateful she finally admitted it. Update 2 coming soon. Heard through the grapevine she's about to learn what knowing your worth really means when you have no worth to offer. Update 2, 2 weeks later. The descent from bad bitch to harsh reality was faster than a crypto crash. When the couchsurfing welcome wore out and the Instagram facade cracked, Aria's true situation became apparent to everyone. Lasted exactly 5 days at Cassidy's place. The breaking point? Aria brought Chase, crypto bro, back to the studio apartment at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, in a 500 square foot space, where Cassidy and Brad were trying to sleep. Brad lost it, told Aria she had 1 hour to pack and get out. Cassidy tried to defend her bestie until Aria said, "It's not my fault, you two are too poor for a real apartment." Cassidy's response? Threw Aria's bags in the hallway and deadbolted the door. After burning the Cassidy bridge, Aria had no choice but to call her parents. Deb called me, frustrated. She wants to move home but refuses to follow our rules. No overnight guests, get a full-time job, pay rent. She said we're being financially abusive. Where did we go wrong? You didn't, Deb. She just never faced consequences before. We enabled her, didn't we? Always bailing her out. Maybe, but it's never too late to stop. They held firm. Aria couldn't move home without agreeing to their terms. She refused. Chase seemed like Aria's golden ticket. Drove a leased BMW, talked big about his NFT investments, posted hustle culture quotes. They went on 3 dates. Date 1, fancy steakhouse. He paid. She posted about being treated like the queen I am. Date 2, rooftop bar. He forgot his wallet. She had to pay with her last $47. Date 3, he invited her to his place. His penthouse was his mom's basement. The BMW? His mom's. The crypto fortune? Down 97%. She still stayed the night because she had nowhere else to go. With no phone, limited computer access, and spotty employment history, Aria's job search wasn't going well. Retail stores wanted full availability. She could only work around her yoga studio schedule. Office jobs wanted experience. She had none. Restaurants wanted reliability. Her references, when contacted, mentioned her chronic lateness. She applied to 30-plus jobs. Got 2 interviews, showed up to 1 in clubwear because that's all I have at Chase's place. Didn't get callbacks. Her Instagram started telling a different story. Week 1, living my best life. Week 2, anyone know of job openings? Looking for management roles only. Week 3, why is rent so expensive? This economy is trash. The likes dwindled. Comments stopped. Even her flying monkeys got quiet when she started posting Cash App requests for girl help, girl out. Day 10, she showed up at my house at 11 p.m. in an Uber she couldn't afford. "We need to talk," she announced when I opened the door. "No, we don't. Please leave." "I'm not leaving until you hear me out. Then I'll call the police." "Just 5 minutes, please." I started to close the door. She wedged her foot in it. "I know I messed up, okay? I was stressed and took it out on you, but we had something special. We had me paying for everything while you disrespected me. That's not special. I'll change. I'll get a real job. I'll be better. Aria, you told me who you are. I believed you. Go be that person somewhere else." "Where? I have nowhere to go. Chase's mom kicked me out. My parents won't help. Cassidy blocked me. I'm sleeping in the yoga studio." And the Uber driver honked. "Lady, are you coming back? Meter's running." "I don't have any money," she wailed. I pulled out my phone. "I'll add tip if you leave with her now." The driver was at my door in seconds. "Ma'am, let's go." As he guided her away, she screamed, "You're heartless. I hope you're happy. You ruined my life." No, Arya. You ruined your life when you decided basic respect was optional. Her boss at the yoga studio, Kim, called me the next day. "I'm sorry to bother you, but did Arya used to live with you?" "Until 2 weeks ago, yes. She's been sleeping in the studio. I can't have that. I have to let her go." "That's unfortunate for her." "She said you made her homeless over broken glass?" "I ended our relationship after months of disrespect, culminating in her telling me this is who she is when asked to clean up broken glass she left in my sink." "Ah, that makes more sense. She does leave the studio a mess every shift." So even her $600 a month income was gone. By day 14, unemployed. Homeless? Actually homeless, not couchsurfing. Blocked by most friends after asking for money. Parents requiring therapy and full-time employment to move home. Posted a GoFundMe that raised $23 from her mom. DMing random dudes on Instagram, offering to be a live-in girlfriend. Meanwhile, I hired a cleaning service with the money I saved from not funding her lifestyle. Started dating Phoebe, who insisted on splitting our first date bill. Got promoted at work. Turns out I'm more focused without constant drama. Felt peace in my own home for the first time in months. Yesterday, got a notification that someone tried to reset my Netflix password. Then Hulu. Then HBO Max. Girl was desperately trying to access streaming services to watch from wherever she was squatting. Changed all my passwords and security questions. Removed her email from everything. Got one last text from a random number. "I hope we're happy. Living in a shelter because of you. This is who I am, remember? Someone you threw away like garbage." I didn't respond. But I did think, no, Arya. You're someone who threw away a good relationship because you couldn't do the bare minimum of human decency. You're someone who thought, "This is who I am," was a flex instead of a warning. You were right. That is who you are. And that's exactly why you're where you are. Final update coming soon. Heard she might have found a new boyfriend. We'll see how long that lasts when he realizes who she is. Final update. 1 month later. The conclusion of Arya's story is exactly what you'd expect from someone who proudly declared, "This is who I am," while being absolutely terrible. Turns out actions really do have consequences. After her last desperate text, Arya did end up in a women's shelter, but not for long. Got kicked out after a week for refusing to do assigned chores, stealing another resident's phone charger, bringing a man into the facility against rules, telling staff they were beneath her. The shelter director, Carmen, knew my cousin who volunteered there. Small world. Carmen said in 20 years, she'd never seen someone fumble free housing and job placement assistance out of pure arrogance. Desperate times, desperate measures. Arya joined a sugar baby website, created a profile claiming she was a yoga instructor and entrepreneur, looking for a generous gentleman who appreciates luxury. Problem? The actual sugar daddies on there are businessmen who can spot BS instantly. She got 3 meets. 1. Guy 1 asked about her business. She couldn't explain what she actually did. He left before appetizers. 2. Guy 2 Googled her during dinner. Found her Instagram begging for money, paid for his own meal, and left. 3. Guy 3 turned out to be married. His wife showed up at the restaurant. Chaos ensued. Arya got banned from that restaurant. Week 3, she found him. Dexter. 45, divorced, lonely, and apparently blind to red flags. Met him at a gas station where she was asking people for gas money. He rescued her, let her move into his condo within 3 days of meeting. Started posting couple pics immediately. Sometimes your king comes when you least expect it. My friend Terrence lived in the same complex. Kept me updated. She trashed his place within days. Had loud parties while he was at work. He bought her a new phone, Android, not iPhone. She complained publicly. She was already flirting with his neighbor. Arya's parents reached out one last time. They'd been in therapy themselves, working through their enabling patterns. "Grant, we wanted to thank you, actually." Me. "For what?" "Deb, for showing us we weren't helping her by always bailing her out. She needed to face consequences. We've told her therapy and a job are non-negotiable if she wants our help. She refused." They sounded sad but resolved. Sometimes loving someone means letting them hit rock bottom. Lasted 17 days. 17 days. Here's the speedrun. Day 5, he asked her to clean up after herself. She gave him the "this is who I am" speech. Day 8, he found out she wasn't working, wasn't looking for work, and was using his credit card without permission. Day 11, came home early, found her in bed with his neighbor. She tried to gaslight him. We never said we were exclusive. Day 14, he asked her to leave. She refused, claimed tenant rights. Day 16, he formally evicted her. Day 17, she called the cops claiming domestic violence. They reviewed his security footage showing her as the aggressor, threw a plate at him. She got arrested instead. Remember that arrest? Turns out Arya had a warrant from an unpaid ticket from last year. One I'd offered to pay, but she said she'd handle it. She didn't handle it. Now she had assault charges, the plate throwing, filing a false police report, the warrant. Bail was set at $20,500. She had $3.47 in her account. Called me from jail. Called me from jail. Please, I know you hate me, but I need help. I'll pay you back. With what money, Arya? I'll get a job, I promise. Please, it's scary in here. You know what was scary? Living with someone who had zero respect for me or my home. Good luck. Please, I'm sorry. No, you're sorry you're facing consequences. There's a difference. I hung up. She served 5 days, charges reduced, time served. Got out to find Dexter had packed her stuff and left it at the shelter. The shelter wouldn't take her back. Her parents still required therapy and employment. Every bridge thoroughly burned. Last I heard through the grapevine, living in a sketchy motel, paid week to week. Working at a car wash, only place that didn't check references. Still posting about being a boss babe between shifts. DMing every man who likes her photos. Telling people I ruined her life over nothing. It's been a month since that wine glass shattered in my sink. In that time, saved over $2,000 from not funding her lifestyle. Deep cleaned and reorganized my entire house. Started seeing Phoebe regularly. She cooked me dinner last night. Got commended at work for increased productivity. Felt actual peace in my own home. Phoebe asked about my ex recently. I told her the whole story. Her response? So she really looked you in the eye and said, "This is who I am." While being awful, that's like a bank robber saying I'm a thief, deal with it, and being shocked when they get arrested. Exactly. The lessons: 1. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. 2. Take it or leave it is a valid offer. You can actually leave it. 3. Love isn't cleaning up someone's broken glass, literal or metaphorical. 4. People who say "this is who I am" as a defense are usually telling the truth. 5. The best response to ultimatums is often accepting them. This morning, 1 year after we first met, Arya sent one last message from someone's phone. I know you'll never forgive me, but I wanted you to know I'm in therapy now. Court ordered, but still. I realize I was toxic and entitled. I took you for granted. I thought being real meant being selfish. I was wrong. You deserved better. I hope you found it. Did I respond? No. Do I believe she's changed? Also no. Court-ordered therapy isn't growth, it's consequence management. But I do hope she figures it out. Not for me, but for whoever she dates next. Maybe the next guy won't tolerate 2.5 years of disrespect before walking away. As for me, I'm sitting in my clean kitchen with no broken glass in the sink, making dinner for someone who appreciates effort and reciprocates respect. Someone who would never dream of saying "this is who I am" as an excuse for bad behavior. Life's good when you take people at their word and act accordingly. Thanks for following this journey, Reddit. Remember, you're not asking too much by expecting basic human decency. You're just asking the wrong person. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a drama-free evening to enjoy. My girlfriend said, "You read too much. It's nerdy and unattractive." I smiled. I'll keep that in mind. Then I stopped helping her with her master's thesis she'd been struggling with for months. Her panic when the deadline approached and she couldn't find the answers. Original post: I, 31 male, should probably start by saying, I've always been the bookish type. Got my master's in literature 5 years ago. Work as a technical writer for a software company. Not exactly exciting stuff, but it pays well, and I genuinely enjoy dissecting complex information and making it accessible. My girlfriend Melissa, 29, and I have been together for almost 3 years, living together for the last 18 months. She's in her final year of a master's program in public health administration. When we first met, she said she loved how intellectual I was. Funny how things change. For the past 8 months, I've basically been her unpaid research assistant. Every evening after work, I'd help her understand journal articles, structure arguments, find sources. Her thesis on healthcare accessibility in rural communities, I'd spent probably 200+ hours helping her with research methodology, data interpretation, statistical analysis. Not complaining. That's what partners do, right? 2 weeks ago, we were at her friend Natalie's engagement party. Group of people chatting. Someone mentioned the new bookstore opening downtown. I got excited, started talking about this biography I'd been reading about Jonas Salk. Melissa laughed. Not with me, at me. God, Derek reads everything. It's honestly kind of nerdy and unattractive. Like, we get it, you're smart. The whole group went quiet. Natalie tried to change the subject, but the damage was done. I just smiled and said, I'll keep that in mind. On the drive home, I brought it up. That was pretty harsh back there. She rolled her eyes. Oh, come on, don't be so sensitive. It was just a joke. Calling me unattractive in front of your friends is a joke? Derek, you know what I mean. Sometimes you go overboard with the book stuff. It's just a lot. People think you're showing off. So my interests embarrass you? That's not what I said. God, why do you have to analyze everything? See, this is what I mean. Not everything needs to be some deep discussion. Cool. Message received. That night, she asked me to look over her methodology chapter. 20 pages of dense academic writing that needed serious restructuring. Can't tonight, I said. Gonna watch the game. She looked confused. But it's due to my advisor on Monday. Sure, you'll figure it out. And that's where my new policy began. Complete cessation of all academic support. No more late-night editing sessions. No more hunting down obscure sources. No more explaining statistical concepts she should have learned in her research methods course. She's tried asking a few times since, hey, can you just quickly read this section? Or, what's that website you use for peer-reviewed articles? My response? Sorry, too busy being nerdy and unattractive over here. The thesis is due in 6 weeks. From what I can tell, she's maybe 60% done, and what she has needs major revisions. The methodology is weak, her literature review is missing key studies, and her data analysis is, well, it's not good. Last night, she was crying at the kitchen table, surrounded by printed articles. I made myself a sandwich, grabbed my book, and went to the bedroom. Aren't you gonna help me? She called out. With what? My thesis, I'm drowning here. Thought you didn't like nerdy. I'm just respecting your preferences. Am I being petty? Absolutely. Do I care? Not really. You can't have it both ways. You can't publicly mock the very qualities you privately exploit. Update 1. The entitlement has entered the atmosphere, folks. After my post, I stuck to my guns. Complete academic embargo. Melissa's been scrambling, and it's been illuminating. First, she tried the sweet approach. Made my favorite dinner, first time in months, BW. Wore that dress I like, kept mentioning how brilliant I am. When I didn't bite, she switched tactics. Derek, I need the login for the university library database. Don't have it anymore. What? Yes, you do. You used it last month. That was your login, remember? You gave it to me to help with your research. Her face went white. She'd been using my alumni access because she'd forgotten her password months ago and never bothered resetting it since I always did the searching. Then came the guilt trips. Her mom called me yesterday. Diana called me. Derek, honey, Melissa's really struggling. She says you're refusing to help with her education? Diana, did she mention why I stopped helping? She said you had a small disagreement. She publicly called me unattractive and nerdy for reading books, the same books and knowledge she's been using for her thesis. Long pause. Oh. She didn't mention that part. Shocking. But here's where it gets really good. Thursday night, Melissa had her study group over. 4 people from her program, including this guy Terrence, who she's mentioned has a genius-level IQ, his words apparently. I'm in the living room reading when I hear them in the dining room. So for the statistical analysis section, I need to show correlation between rural hospital closures and mortality rates. Just run a basic regression analysis. Right, but how do I account for confounding variables? Silence. Another girl, Jabe. Maybe check if there's existing research. I have the research. I need to know how to interpret it. More silence. Your boyfriend's good with this stuff, right? Where is he? Melissa, loud enough for me to hear. He's being difficult lately. I walked through to get water, smiled at everyone. Terrence tried to flag me down. Hey man, quick question about standard deviation. Sorry, can't help. Melissa thinks academic discussions are nerdy and unattractive. I'm trying to be less of that. Dead. Silence. Jade actually smirked. Terrence looked confused. Melissa looked murderous. After they left, she exploded. That was humiliating. Now you know how I felt at Natalie's party. That's different. I didn't embarrass you in front of people working on your career. No, just in front of our entire social circle. Derek, I need to pass this thesis. My entire degree depends on it. Then maybe you should have thought about that before mocking the person helping you. So you're really going to let me fail? I'm not doing anything. Your success or failure is entirely in your hands. You know, like how it should have been from the start. She slept on the couch. Yesterday morning, I found her surrounded by textbooks, laptop open to a YouTube video titled Understanding Statistical Analysis for Beginners. The video was 3 hours long. She was 12 minutes in and already looked lost. 5 weeks until submission. Update 2. The desperation has reached critical mass, and she's pulled out every manipulation tactic in the handbook. Last week, after her study group humiliation, Melissa went nuclear on social media. Posted this vague nonsense on Instagram. When someone you trust abandons you in your darkest hour. Chash, real love is support, struggling. Her friends flooded the comments with hearts and, what happened, hun? And here if you need to talk. She didn't mention, of course, why I stopped helping. Then Natalie called me. Remember Natalie? The one whose engagement party started this whole thing. Derek, what's going on? Melissa's saying you're sabotaging her degree? I stopped doing her homework for her. If that's sabotage, then sure. She says you're withholding research materials? I laughed. I'm withholding my brain, Natalie. The same brain she called nerdy and unattractive at your party. You were there. Oh, right. That was messed up. Yet you're calling me about her crisis? She's really freaking out, Derek. She might not graduate. Then she should probably stop posting on Instagram and start actually working on her thesis. But the real kicker came 3 days ago. I came home from work to find Melissa's thesis advisor, Dr. Harrison, sitting in our living room with Melissa. Ambush meeting. Derek, Melissa says you've been helping with her research. I was helping, past tense. She's struggling with the statistical analysis portion. She mentioned you have expertise in this area. Me, I do. Would you consider reviewing her work? Not doing it for her, just guidance? I looked at Melissa. She had this smug little smile like she'd found a loophole. Dr. Harrison, with all due respect, isn't the thesis supposed to represent the student's own work and understanding? Well, yes, but collaboration is encouraged. Has Melissa explained why I stopped collaborating? Melissa, quickly, that's personal. She publicly mocked me for being too intellectual, called my interest in reading nerdy and unattractive, then expected me to continue using that same intellect to help her graduate. Dr. Harrison's eyebrows shot up. He turned to Melissa. Is this true? Melissa, it was taken out of context. There's no context where calling your partner unattractive in public is acceptable, especially when you're simultaneously relying on them for academic support. Harrison stood up, looked deeply uncomfortable. Dr. Harrison to Melissa, I think you need to sort this out on your own, and I'll be reviewing your work very carefully to ensure it's your own. After he left, Melissa lost it. You just made me look like a cheater to my advisor. No, you made yourself look like one. How much of your previous work was actually yours? She couldn't answer that. Yesterday, she tried a new approach. Tears. Full-on breakdowns, sobbing. I'm going to fail. 3 years of my life wasted. Student loans for nothing. You have 3 weeks. That's plenty of time if you actually work instead of scheming to get me to do it. I don't understand the material. YouTube University is free. So is the library. Your classmates seem willing to study together. They think I'm an idiot now. No, they think you're someone who relied too heavily on her boyfriend. Prove them wrong. How can you be so cold? You said you loved me. I do love you, but I don't love being disrespected and used. Then she played the ace card. If I fail, I can't get a job. I'll have to move back with my parents. We'll have to break up. I shrugged. That's your choice. You created this situation. She stared at me like I was a stranger. Last night, I heard her on the phone with her mom, crying about how I'm emotionally abusive and controlling her future. Rich, coming from someone who's been using me as her personal thesis ghostwriter. But here's the thing. I found out from a mutual friend that Terrence, Mr. Genius IQ, offered to help her with the statistics. She turned him down because his methods are too complicated. Translation: she'd actually have to understand them instead of just copying my work. 3 weeks left. She's panic-bought 6 books on statistical analysis and research methods. They're still in the Amazon boxes. Meanwhile, I just finished an excellent biography of Marie Curie in front of her, while she was crying over her laptop. Petty? Maybe. Satisfying? Absolutely. Update 3. The extinction burst. Wait, no. Let me use different words. The complete meltdown has arrived and it brought friends. 5 days ago, Melissa's parents showed up, unannounced. Dennis and Diana, in all their glory, standing at our door at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. Dennis, we need to talk about this situation. Me, coffee first, then talk. We sat in the living room. Melissa had clearly prepped them with her version. Diana, Derek, honey, we've always thought of you as family. Appreciated. Which is why we're confused about your behavior. Melissa's entire future is at stake. Her future was never my responsibility. But partners support each other. I did support her. For 8 months, until she publicly humiliated me for the very traits she was exploiting. She made a mistake. She made a choice, and choices have consequences. Diana tried another angle. Derek, you know Melissa has anxiety. The pressure makes her say things she doesn't mean. Anxiety doesn't make you call someone unattractive. That's just cruelty. They exchanged glances. Then Dennis pulled out his checkbook. I kid you not, a literal checkbook. Dennis, what would it take for you to help her finish? I actually laughed. Are you trying to pay me to do your daughter's homework? It's not like that. It's exactly like that. And the answer is no, not for any amount. Melissa walked in then, saw the checkbook, and her face went red. Dad, I told you not to. Your future is worth more than pride, sweetheart. That's when it clicked for me. This wasn't new. They'd been buying her way through challenges her whole life. Have you two always done this? Paid people to solve her problems? Silence. Me, holy you have? Who'd you pay, an undergrad? Writing tutors? TAs? Melissa, that's not relevant. It's completely relevant. You've never actually done your own work, have you? She stormed out. Her parents left shortly after, Dennis muttering about young people's pride and Diana giving me a disappointed look. But it got worse. 3 days ago, I got a call from my mom. Derek, what's this I hear about you not helping Melissa? How do you even know about this? Diana called me, said you're being stubborn. Me mom, she called me unattractive for reading books. Oh honey, people say silly things. Would you stay with Dad if he publicly mocked you? Long pause. No, I wouldn't. Then please don't ask me to accept it. You're right, I'm sorry. Diana made it sound different. Meanwhile, Melissa had hired an emergency tutor. Some grad student charging $50 an hour to basically write her analysis section. I found out because she used our shared credit card. I didn't cancel the payment, but I did screenshot it. Evidence is always useful. Yesterday was the peak. I came home to find her laptop smashed on the floor. Me, Melissa, I crashed. The whole thing is gone. Me, your thesis? Everything. 3 weeks of work. Me, backups? Her face went white. I thought it auto-saved to the cloud. You didn't manually back up your thesis? At all? She started sobbing. Like full body can't breathe sobbing. Please, Derek. Please, I know I hurt you, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, but I need help. I can't recreate 3 weeks of work in 5 days. 3 weeks of work or 3 weeks of the tutor's work? She looked up, mascara everywhere. Does it matter? Yeah, it does. I went to my desk, pulled out a USB drive, and handed it to her. Me, I backed up your laptop 2 weeks ago when I was doing general maintenance. Your files should be there, including whatever work you actually did yourself. She grabbed it like a lifeline. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you. Me, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because I'm not cruel. But this doesn't change anything between us. She plugged in the drive, found her files. Then realized something. Melissa, this is from 2 weeks ago. I've done so much since then. Me, then you should have backed it up. She looked at the screen, then at me. The tutor's work. It's all gone. Guess you'll have to write it yourself. Novel concept, I know. She didn't sleep that night, or the next. I can hear her typing, crying, consuming unhealthy amounts of energy drinks. Terrence came by to help, but she kept snapping at him because she didn't understand his explanations. 48 hours until submission. Her mom texted me this morning. I hope you're happy. You've destroyed my daughter. I texted back. No, I gave her the opportunity to build herself. Then I blocked her number. Currently reading a fascinating book about the history of cryptography. Might leave it on the kitchen counter. You know, just to be nerdy and unattractive. Final update, the thesis deadline was last Monday. I watched Melissa submit it at 11:47 p.m., 13 minutes before the cutoff. She looked like she'd aged 5 years and 5 days. What she submitted was, well, it was something. She'd managed to recreate about 70% of what the tutor had done, but without understanding it. The analysis section was a mess of incorrectly applied formulas and misinterpreted data. Her conclusions didn't match her results. It was, to use technical writing terms, a disaster. She knew it too. After hitting submit, she just sat there staring at the screen. It's garbage, she said quietly. I didn't respond. What was there to say? The next morning, she started packing. No drama, no big announcement, just quietly putting her things in boxes. I'm moving back with my parents, she said. Okay. I'll fail the thesis, have to retake the course, another semester of fees. Okay. She stopped packing, looked at me. You really don't care? I cared for 2.5 years. You killed that in one sentence at a party. She nodded, continued packing. The results came back yesterday. She forwarded me the email. I don't know why. Maybe she wanted me to see the consequences. 47%. Fail. Comments from Dr. Harrison were brutal. Fundamental misunderstanding of statistical methodology. Literature review lacks critical sources. Data analysis contains multiple errors in calculation and interpretation. Conclusions unsupported by evidence presented. This work does not meet master's level requirements. But the real kicker was the final note. Ms. Rodriguez, I am concerned about the significant decline in quality from your previous submissions. Please schedule a meeting to discuss academic integrity policies. Translation: he knows she didn't write her previous work. Her mom called me from Melissa's phone one last time. Diana, she's devastated, won't eat, won't leave her room. She'll figure it out. How can you be so heartless? Me, the same way she was when she called me unattractive for being smart. That was words. This is her life. Words have power, Diana. She used hers to hurt me. Now she's facing the consequences. She has to take out more loans, another semester of school. She might lose her job offer. Me, all of that is her responsibility, not mine. You could have prevented this. Me, no, she could have prevented this. By doing her own work, by not insulting me, by being a partner instead of a parasite. She hung up. I found out from mutual friends what happened next. Melissa had to explain to her potential employer why she wouldn't be graduating on time. They withdrew the offer. She's now looking at entry-level positions that don't require a master's, making about 40% less than she would have. Her dad apparently offered to pay for a professional to do her thesis rewrite. The university requires all resubmissions to go through plagiarism detection and an oral defense now. She can't fake that. Some of our friend group reached out, trying to get the full story. When I explained what happened, starting with the public humiliation, most were shocked. Natalie admitted she'd been uncomfortable that night but didn't want to interfere. She always talked about how smart you were, Natalie said. It was weird hearing her flip like that. Terrence surprisingly reached out too. Bro, I didn't know she was using you like that. I offered to help because I thought she was struggling alone. She literally couldn't explain her own thesis to me. It was all your work, wasn't it? Most of it, yeah. That's messed up. And the whole nerdy thing? Man, being smart isn't unattractive. She was just insecure. Plot twist. He asked for book recommendations. Sent him some sci-fi. We might actually become friends. As for me, I'm doing okay. The apartment feels bigger without her anxiety filling every corner. I joined a book club that meets at that new bookstore downtown. Met some genuinely interesting people who don't think reading is nerdy and unattractive. There's this woman Sarah in the group, working on her PhD in philosophy. When I mentioned being into technical writing, she asked if I could recommend some books on making complex ideas accessible. We've had coffee twice. She's brilliant and actually appreciates intellectual conversation. I'm not rushing into anything. Still processing the last 3 years. But it's nice talking to someone who doesn't see intelligence as a character flaw or a resource to exploit. Melissa texted me once more last night. I understand if you hate me, but I wanted you to know, you were right. I never appreciated what you brought to my life until it was gone. I'm sorry for everything. I didn't respond. There's nothing left to say. She has to retake the entire thesis course. 6 more months, minimum. Her parents are paying, but they made her get a job to cover living expenses. She's working retail while trying to rewrite a thesis she never understood in the first place. Someone asked if I feel guilty. I don't. I feel free. Free from being someone's secret homework service. Free from being mocked for the very qualities they depended on. Free from the exhausting cycle of being used while being simultaneously disrespected. The books I read aren't nerdy and unattractive. They're windows into different worlds, different ideas, different possibilities. If someone can't see that, can't appreciate that, then they don't deserve to benefit from it. Lesson learned. When someone shows you who they are, someone who mocks your passions publicly while exploiting them privately, believe them the first time, and never, ever do their homework for them.